Welcome to another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. As mentioned in my last video, I expected the crypto market to spend some time going sideways before our monthly close, and here we are. Tonight around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone, we will have our monthly close for September. And going back since June, I've been telling my supporters to prepare for this month and calling September the month of confusion. And that's exactly how this month has played out. So October will be the month of surprises. This is the month where the average retail investor has their hope turned into optimism. And for the waters above wolves, we've just been relaxing this whole time because we had the crystal ball of Gematria, the awareness of the Hebrew holidays, following the moon cycle, and being able to read these charts without letting any emotions get involved. So today we're going to jump into the Bitcoin and XRP charts to do some technical analysis on tonight's monthly close and how I'm expecting the rest of our week transitioning into October to play out for the market. Also, today is the last day of my sale for my Mastermind course, and I'll be sharing some more details on that in a moment. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria Numerology and Astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out, and make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious people to help grow this community. As I said before, I'm currently running a sale for my Mastermind course for the next 24 hours. So for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. There's a promo code in the pinned comment below. My email's in the description box to get in contact with me for access to the course. I will also be releasing an advanced trading course in the month of November. So by getting this course now on the discount, you'll be able to prepare yourself for when that course comes out. My Mastermind course is to teach you how to read the charts, how to do technical analysis, how to actually become an investor, so that way you can transition into the trading course. You'll actually know how to read the charts to get ready to start trading. And the reason I designed it that way was because A, the bull run is almost over, and this gives people enough time to actually study how to become a trader before we enter the bear market. And when we're in a bear market, it is a hodler's hell and a trader's paradise. Remember I said that. So let's take the red pill. I'm going to start off with a little bit of some of our numerology just to get things going. So we have tomorrow be 10/1/2021, and of course that's giving us the 7, and that 7 has been so critical in my work lately because of Shemitah. So again, Shemitah is the release, the sabbatical year, and it is on a 7-year cycle. Every 7 years we have Shemitah, and during this time there is always financial chaos in the world. Whether it be the entire world or it be a large part of our market, we can go back in the charts hundreds of years and see what's going on there. So we have Shemitah going on now. It started on Rosh Hashanah this previous September 7th, and it will end on Rosh Hashanah of 2022. So another 7 that's really important is we're currently in the 77th anniversary of the Bretton Woods Conference, and that is very critical because in February of 2022, it will be the 7th month in the 77th year of the Bretton Woods Conference. So that would be the 777, and that February will be happening in the year of 2022, in the Hebrew year of 5782, which reduces down to 22, 5782. We got the 22, and it'll be happening in February, again, with the 2. So these 77s, it'll be the 777 in the 222. That is very powerful stuff, guys. So, of course, we have a lot of time before there and now to see what happens. But I believe by February of 2022, we will start to see the market as a whole start to come down substantially into the month of March. Ides of March. So getting back to the 10/1/2021, which will be tomorrow, that's 7. This gives us naturally the day after that being the 2nd, 10/2/2021, giving us the 8. And this 8 comes back to the infinity symbol. That infinity symbol also coming back to Apep. So Apep in ancient Egypt is the sibling of Ra, the god, the sun deity. And his greatest enemy is a pep. And we could see this clearly here. So we have Atum and the snake Apophis. And Apophis and Apep, same entity with the eights. And you could see here the 888. But what I've been really curious about with this 8 number and that connection back to Apep. So Apep, we're getting that 22, just like I was talking about before, how we're entering the 22nd year of the 21st century in the Hebrew year of 5,782, 5,782 coming back to the 22, the number 22 coming back in the word reset. With that 22, we know that number is important. Now, that's not me saying we're going to have a great financial reset or any of that stuff. That's all just news to fill up people's heads and get people scared of being part of a wealth transfer. That's not what my work is about. It's just showing you how these numbers and these words all tie together and the significance of the year 2022 and how it will be the most financial chaos, but it will start out with the biggest wealth transfer ever in the altcoins and in the stock market. This is how they design it. They design it to pump the balloon up before the balloon pops, and the masses are left holding the bag, or homeless, unfortunately. So this is important because the 10/2/2021 with the 8, of course, naturally will transition into the 9 on the 3rd of October. And this 9, of course, coming back to BTC, with the 9 in Chaldean, the most pure cipher. And then also this day of the 3rd, we could see it right here. October 3rd will be a Sunday, and Sun gives us that 9 in the full reduction. And in my work, I pay more attention to the English ordinal and the full reduction after the Chaldean. I leave the reverses more just for garnish. But what's more important here is when we're getting the full reduction giving us a 9, that's powerful stuff because this is all coming back to BTC, Bitcoin, right? But Sun also gives us that 54. And remember, we're talking about October 3rd. So we have 10 for the month plus 3 for the day plus 20 plus 21 for the year. And what does that give us? That gives us 54, the English ordinal. So not only do we have the date numerology added up both ways in both ciphers, this is all coming back to the Sun. And the Sun, or Helios, is Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin is the sun god, the energy of this entire market. It is what pulls this market up or pulls it down. And that's really important for people to understand. Whether you purchase crypto and are all about Bitcoin or you hate Bitcoin or any of that, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin is what runs the energy of this show. And once I was able to emotionally detach from that, trust me, I'm really big on altcoins too. But once I was able to see this for what it really is, it started to help me be less emotional to what's going on in this market. Remember what ether is. Ethereum or ether or aether is the air that the gods breathe. So Bitcoin is the sun, Satoshi Nakamoto is Saturn, ether is the air that the gods breathe, the air that the titans breathe. And you could tell these ERC20s, they're running the show. Whether they're shit coins or not, Ethereum is here to stay, and it is the top dog behind Bitcoin. So it's important that people get this just into their spirit instead of being so in our heads. Get back to where logic actually exists. And you could see in the charts since the inception of these coins how they're operating. We know for a fact with Cardano. Cardano is a top dog. Why? Because it has that 56 coming back to the Jesuit order. Right? With the 56, but also Cardano is not separate from Bitcoin at all. Why? Because it has the 23 in Chaldean, and that 23 comes straight back to Bitcoin. Okay? Everything runs off of Bitcoin. Anyone who's been part of my Patreon Mastermind community and you've watched my 4 Gematria decodes, you can see a coin as insignificant in this market as Digibyte has crazy connections to Bitcoin because it's all running through Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, and who tells them what to do? The sun. The sun is Bitcoin itself. So this was our red pill for the day. And Another thing I'm interested in about this date transition, just to help you guys all out and what's going on. So, of course, we have this 10/3/2021. We know the nines are coming back to Bitcoin, but we also showed you in both forms of numerology how that's tying back to Bitcoin. Also, this will be transitioning into a Monday. And the significance of this is really interesting because Monday gives us that 72. Of course, Bitcoin gives us that 72. Monday, the day of the moon. Moon gives us 23 in Chaldean. Bitcoin gives us 23 in Chaldean, and the same ciphers for both words. So it's clear here. It's clear as day. Who's the moon? The moon is Isis. What does Isis give you? The 56 coming straight back to the Society of Jesus. Of course, it also gives us that 8, Apep, infinity. That's what the moon is. It's the cycle that goes on infinitely, and we are all tied to it. That's why they call it the tides in the ocean, because we are tied to them. We are tied to the sun, the moon, the stars, the earth beneath our feet, which is the salt. We are the salt of the earth. And the moon and the sun and the oceans create a battery system as a trinity that runs this power plant we call Gaia, or Mother Earth. So let's move on. We have here the last chart we talked about. That's why I want to start with it, because it's very important. We have these firmament domes. Of course, we have this blue one being the somewhat of a resistance, and then we have this bottom one being somewhat of a support. And I mentioned in my last video, which I believe was on the 27th, around here, when we started to break a little bit above it, I said we are not out of the woods yet. I have until October 2nd to where I'm wanting to flip into full-blown bull mode. But until then, sideways and probably retesting bottom levels. That's exactly what I said in my last video. Go back and watch it if you haven't already. And that's essentially what we've done. We are in a sideways, more consolidation type range. And this is the time where people start to get bored of the market or start to get scared of the market. This is a very solid time to want to be in crypto if you're a sophisticated investor. And let's go back and show a similar time frame. So we're going to go back to here. This was the crown top formation that happened with the relief rally in August of 2020 into early September. We got a bigger correction. Then we went sideways, and we went sideways until this candle right here, which was on October 21st. Okay, meaning we didn't break highs in the structure between August 17th and October 21st. That's like 65 days, guys. So this took some time going sideways, but what was a better buying opportunity? The crown top or the consolidation sideways boring price action after the highs? This was the money right here. Anything in here, it didn't matter if it was the perfect wick bottom or even this top right here, because you still got an insane discount buying the top. You were up 276% on your trade in 110 days, which is nothing. Okay, if you're comparing traditional stocks, you could see what I'm talking about here. So this was beautiful, right? I don't consider this as important, though, as the previous cycles. And we've been going over these previous cycles over and over again because of all the importance they've had, showing the repetition of it all. So let's get into that 56 to 58 day bottoms that I've been talking about time and time again on my channel. I'm going to hide everything, and we're going to go back to the year of 2017. And I want to go back to around this time frame right here, where you can see this was the top that we hit around the beginning of September, followed by a bigger correction just like we got this year. And then we went sideways until around October 12th. Okay, remember October 12th, and then let's go back to the 2013 cycle. This stuff's mind-blowing, guys. So we hit our top early September. We got a bigger correction right after it. Then we went sideways until October 13th. On October 13th into 14th, we started to break the structure of highs. It was the same time 4 years later. So do we need to think really hard about it? Do we really need to remember we called the top formation starting in early September, followed by a big pullback. And this was all because of what happened in the previous two cycles. So those people who say that this bull run is different, sure, of course it's different. It has diminishing returns. It has more leverage. It has, easier capability of accumulating cryptocurrencies. It's a different market also because of the social media aspect of it. But what we need to understand is a lot of people are disregarding the past in the charts, and they're spending too much time in their head, and that leads to too many emotions, and people disregard these big dips as buying opportunities. Okay, so remember, I've been talking about the 56 to 58 day bottoms for months now. Let's investigate a little bit into how this all works. So I'm going to go back to July 26th. Okay, we have right here. Oh, sorry, I'm going to go to the 2017 cycle because this was way less volatility, a little bit easier to navigate, way easier to navigate actually than the bull run of 2013. So we have right here July 16th of 2017, and I'm going to go over 58 days and we're going to see what happens. So we could see right here the dip around the 13th of September were pretty much, oh, that was the 16th actually, and it still worked. So what I wanted to show you was right here, the 26th, okay? And what that brings us to is this little dip right here, which led to continuation. So you see right there, this was a fake out dump. Right here, after it had a huge volatile move to the downside, people probably started shitting their pants. Then it rallied up, and it bull trapped people in. Then it liquidated their longs, and then essentially this 58 days from that, perfect entries before continuation. And if you look at this continuation from this day, I mean, massive. 400% up from buying a very scary shakeout dip to the downside. And this is kind of where we are right now. We're transitioning out of September, moving into October. So we could see that perfectly around 58 days. Now let's go from August 22nd. So we see this weird day right here. Weird, just big volatile dip from top to bottom. It was an actual 14% red candle, but it still ended green. So let's measure over here and see what we get. Right there to that dip. Perfect dip before continuation, 57 days. So this actually worked in the previous cycle well, as it also worked pretty well. It wasn't as obvious in the 2017 cycle as it is this year. This year it's a lot more obvious, and I've been showing you that in my work. This is the first time I've ever shown people how this worked in the last cycle though. So let's go from the 15th of September over 58 days. Look at that. Perfect. Caught the dip. 58 days. So this is really interesting how this indicator even worked in 2017. It's been working textbook this year. If you combine the moon cycles with the 56 to 58 day bottoms and just bought anything around 56 to 60 days every dip, you're in good position. You could have just traded off of that. Again, not for the altcoins necessarily, but for Bitcoin. So this is really interesting how this worked. Last one, I believe we have sometime in August. Let's go from August 9th because that's kind of where I'm anticipating we are ending up here. And you can see 56 days into 57 days, we got a final little backup before it just went crazy. So that's about where we're headed right now. We're transitioning into October, right around here. And you can see that after the lower dip around Rosh Hashanah of 2017, there was a relief rally, but then it came down into early October before continuation. That's what I've been calling out for a while now. I've been saying we're not really out of the weeds until we get closer to the new moon of October, and the new moon of October will be the 6th. So October 2nd is still on my radar. I'm going to show you why. So if I go from this dip right here over to 56 days, that was a couple days ago. Of course, we did get a red candle. Today would be the 58th, and that is invalidated. So if we go to the last day of the dip right here, go over 58 days, and you can show us the 2nd of October. Of course, if we went off of this candle, 58 days would be the day before. So we still have a couple more days. And I'm going to show you why this would be totally normal. If I go back to my firmament chart, we can see that there's been times before when there's a firmament dome, we actually ride the outside of the dome for some time. You can see it right here. We broke through the firmament and then rode it down for a while. And that was a perfect dome. Every single resistance perfectly hit. It's amazing how well this firmament analysis works. I enjoy it more than trend lines. Anyone who's been following my work for some length of time, you know that I don't love trend lines, especially when we're working with crypto, and that's what my focus is. Trend lines and pattern trading works really well in Forex and stocks, but it is not working that well with crypto. There's typically fake outs, always entering or exiting patterns, and it definitely shakes people out when they're doing leverage trading. So for those of you that are leverage trading out there and you've been losing a lot of your trades, definitely consider the trading course when it comes out in November, because that will help you be a little bit less emotional when you're entering trades. Typically what people do is they enter trades with too many contracts, too high of leverage, and they don't cost average into their trade. If you're doing leverage trading, you're already borrowing someone else's liquidity to be able to make more if your trade is winning. But if your trade is losing, it's going against you. Okay, so anyways, all eyes on October 2nd. I showed you in the beginning of this video with the Gematria, and I also am showing you how this 3rd of October, again, coming back to the 9, and that 9 number tied to Bitcoin, and also if I added up the date as 10 plus 3 plus 20 plus 21, it gives me the 54, and the 54 and the 9 are both coming back to the sun, right? And this will be the transition date of a Sunday entering Monday. So Monday or Moon Day, I'm anticipating some recovery. That would be the 4th of October. This gives us some time, guys. So we have to be patient. We have to let this all play out. Tomorrow can be an equally red day as today is green. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just telling you it's possible. I'm not calling for crashes. I'm not saying anything extreme right now. I'm just saying sideways until we get closer to that new moon. Okay, so a couple other things we can consider is we have our monthly close today. And let me just turn off all this excess and go to my main chart, which is the index. I really love the index chart a lot. So I'm going to bring up this, and I'm actually going to change this 8 to a 10 simple moving average, because when you're on the monthly or you're on the bi-monthly, this is definitely better to have as a 10. That would be more traditional. The 8 simple moving average I like to use on the 5-day, 3-day, 2-day, etc. But on these larger time frames like a monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly, I like to use the 10. So we can see right here that we're essentially holding that 10 perfectly. We can see that the level is exactly at $42,800, meaning any close today at where we're at now, essentially above this 10 simple moving average on the monthly, is a good sign. We can see that we actually had every closure above it. Here, every single closure has been above that, except for this dump right here on February. This was a harbinger of the pandemic crash. Okay, so something to keep in mind if you're someone who's more technically inclined, that would be a good level to hold. Let me turn this back so I don't confuse the rest of my analysis. And we're doing this all live on the video, guys, just so you can see the methods here, so you can see how I'm working. So essentially, another thing I'm going to look out for is our daily. Daily is holding above this 8 simple moving average, but it's definitely not ready to be doing anything crazy until we get out of this month. I believe the month of September is just purely confusion, and it's meant to shake people out, and we can see this perfectly. We have this textbook support around $40,700. Every time it gets around there, it essentially just bounces up. It doesn't matter how many times we test the bottom. It doesn't matter how many times we test the top. When it's time for them to ritualize this market, and when I say them, I'm talking about the lizards who run this show on an algorithm. When it's time for them to move the market, they will, and you will know it. Okay, days like this, just a downtrend. We have our high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Okay, so far we're seeming to have started a reversal because there's somewhat of higher lows in formation, but I don't want anyone getting excited until Bitcoin breaks this right here. Until Bitcoin breaks 48,800, the top side current microcycle lower high, I would call it, that would give us some signs of reversal. So heading towards 50 again would definitely get us excited, but more importantly, breaking here. Once Bitcoin breaks 53,000 to the upside, it's game over. It's going straight to 70,000. Okay, so you heard that here first. It might only take 2 weeks to get to 70K and create new all-time highs after it breaks this high right here. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how this works. So what I'm really interested in is eventually closing the 21 exponential moving average on the daily. And we could see here that that's been somewhat of a struggle. We tried holding it for a couple daily candles, but ultimately this is starting to flip bearish. So we can see that this went from blue, orange, red, bullish to red, orange, blue. Bad. Okay. So this is another thing that's making me feel like sideways before new highs. As for bottom support, it's just they don't want it to go below 40, right? It only stayed below 40K for less than 2 minutes, and then it got bought back up. And not only did it get bought back up, but it got bought back up 14%. So this is clear as day that they're trying to essentially create a bear trap. This bear trap is a continuation sign, obviously. So what I'm interested here is until we're closing dailies above 44,000, again, that could also be indicative of some of the levels that we were talking about with, let's just go to our weekly close, for instance. So our weekly, you can see that the blue moving average, which is the 13 exponential moving average, is sitting around 44,000. So it'd be really fantastic to close 44,000, and then eventually that would be a good sign of continuation to the upside by going off of our exponential moving averages. So one other thing that might be important, and then we're going to move on to the analysis of XRP. We have our 3-month, which is the quarterly. I'm going to keep it in log scale. I'm going to turn off that and turn on Bollinger Bands. It's going to look really awkward at first, but let me fix it for you. So this right here, the quarterly, is a 3-month closure, and the topside band, once closing the topside band, it has helped us see continuation. So we can see right here, if we just stare at that number, it's 43,800. So again, this comes back to that 44,000 number, and we're so close. The high today on Bitcoin was 43,833. It would have actually been the same exact level as the topside Bollinger Band. And you can see that's why we're getting that resistance. The big players in this game are aware of all this stuff. It's the newer traders that are spending way too much time leverage trading and not enough time actually learning and studying the charts. So anywho, go back to October of 2016 and you can see that just led to multiple quarterly closes, 5 in a row. Yeah, 5 quarterly closes green. That's 3-month candles, guys. So anywho, I suspect that this is something to consider as well. And that would be around 44,000 basically. Any closures tonight, 44,000 would be touching all bases on all of everything that I've basically talked about. And would I be surprised if we don't get it? Absolutely not, because at the end of the day, there's so much leverage in this market that it could essentially destroy some of these lagging indicators. Even though these indicators are really good, again, it's hard to be using them with precision just due to the fact of all the leverage in this market. So let's go on to XRP. I hope you guys have been enjoying the longer videos lately. I've been trying to give very thorough analysis, try to let everyone know exactly what's going on here. That way we can just chill for a couple of days, let the charts come to us. There's no need to be making daily videos going over the same price action when we're just sideways and boring. But trust me, when we get into late October and November, definitely going to be a lot more exciting, a lot more live streams coming too. So anyway, we have a similar thing going on here with XRP, of course, because Bitcoin runs the show. It is the sun. So the chart that we're seeing right here, just sideways consolidation before continuation, is essentially what was going on with Bitcoin. So what's interesting here, let's look at the monthly closure. I'm going to bring up, and also, well, we're on the 8 right now, 8 simple, and XRP is holding well above the 8, so nothing to say there. Monthly's looking good. There's no engulfing going on at all. This is just a good looking monthly close, so nothing to say. Let's go on to the 3-day, because there is a 3-day closure today. Of course, having a 3-day closure above this previous high right there would be really nice. Anything above 95 cents or 94.8 which we're basically at right now. If XRP can just move up a cent and close, it would be a bullish engulfing candle on the 3-day. That'd be very solid. One problem though is we can see that this 8 simple moving average is looking across bearish below the 55 symbol. That is not a good sign. Okay, so this needs to get solved soon. Again, I'm not worried. A lot of these indicators like that at this time of the bull market, I'm not worried, because September was all about volatility. It was all about pumping up to dump down. And that gets our indicators a little bit weird, a little bit sketchy. So let's go to the daily. Definitely interesting. We're seeing that this 855 has been crossed now for about 10 days, and it typically takes about 40 days for it to get resolved. So that puts us closer to around late October, pretty much the transition into November, when we can see that this cross will happen bullish again, and that would be really nice. Until then, I don't get bullish on a chart. Another thing that I always watch out for on XRP is the RSI being above 50, and then eventually a bullish MACD cross on the 2-day. Right now it is bearish. All right, so this chart is looking not so great. We do see that there's a flip up in the moving averages on the MACD, which is telling me that we could essentially be seeing a cross somewhere around the new moon. We could be seeing a bullish histogram on the new moon. Really interesting. Closures above the 200 simple moving average would also be nice at this time, but we can see that this 8 simple moving average is showing us some resistance. 200 exponential, perfect support, textbook support. So longing the 200 exponential on XRP is beautiful. Now, where's the topside resistance? Naturally at $1.08. So that's the range here. We essentially have the local highs, which is $1.02. We have the local lows, which is 86 cents. And that's our range until we could close dailies above this 55 simple moving average, which is basically around the previous highs of $1.13. So we have a little bit of work to do. This is really sideways, really boring. This way that it was red to the downside after sideways, well, we're sideways, and I'm expecting green to the upside after October 2nd. Between now and October 3rd, it is what it is. I'm anticipating more sideways more than anything. And I'm not anticipating crashes. I'm not anticipating just green massive candles out of nowhere. It's going to take some time. October is a recovery month after having a relief rally that was too much exuberance. Look at this, RSI is getting into the 85 territory after being all the way at oversold. This is too dramatic, okay? And that was a warning that I was giving people. And then we have an obvious bearish divergence because we have lows, and then we have low high, higher high, followed by high, lower high on the RSI. So we need to clear all this stuff out, and it's going to take some time. So anywho, this is the analysis for the next couple of days. I will be making my red pill episode over this weekend. It will be my technical analysis podcast going over a bunch of altcoins. So those of you that were waiting to join the Mastermind community Patreon, that'll be happening tomorrow, and we'll see how things are going after this monthly close. It might get really exciting and I might want to make a video. We'll see what happens. Also, it's the last day of my Mastermind course sale. The promo code is in the pinned comment, and you could reach out to me with my email, which is in the description box of this video. Also, remember, there is so many copycat accounts trying to scam people, copying my picture, copying my name, even creating fake email addresses. So remember, the email address in the description of my video is the only email I have. Copy and paste that email. And if you're getting emails from someone who looks like that email, it's not me if it's not the same email. So remember, protect yourself out there. Don't fall for these scammers. They're awful. It is what it is. We just have to let them do what they do. They'll have it coming to them. Anywho, enjoy the rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.